And welcome back. Here we are again, episode 2 of Dear Esther. We're going to immediately proceed forward. I don't want to keep you guys waiting any longer. You know, I have to say this was by far the most requested thing that I've had anyone want me to do on this channel. I mean, aside from this, I mean, a lot of people have asked for me to play Dwarf Fortress for some reason. But Dear Esther seems to be where it's at. You guys definitely think that this is a cool game. And I am right with you. I think this is a very cool game myself. Or maybe not game, narrative, experience, any of those. You get what I'm trying to say. A lovely little babbling brook here to walk through. And I think there's a loading point that comes up. Oh, we got some more dialogue, monologue.
I can't make the judgment or the distinction anymore. I was drunk when I landed here, and tired too. I walked up the cliff path in near darkness and camped in the bay where the trawler lies beached. It was only at dawn that I saw the bothy and decided to make my temporary lodgings there. I was expecting just the aerial and a transmitter stashed in a weatherproof box somewhere on the mount. It had an air of uneasy permanence to it. Like all the other buildings here, erosion seems to have evaded it completely.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of much of this still. I'm going to try and pull out little bits and pieces. I'm just worried this is going to end up like the ending of, I don't know, one of those very abstract anime movies that I end up not quite understanding and feeling the emotion of, but maybe don't know why. Hate when that happens. It's so frustrating. Of course, I'm not thinking of any good examples right now. And the examples that I come up with, everyone always says, "Why do you say that? That's so dumb. You should really know." Oh, there's quite a fall right there. Is this the... Yeah, it is actually. I think this is where that car was. So somehow someone got a car into this crevice. Seems very unlikely given how many rocks are here. What is that? Am I being perceptive and finding clues on the ground? What is this? It's weird, I can't quite tell. It looks sort of like something, and I see that red. Looks like little maybe scraps of paper or something. And the textures kind of fall apart a little bit that close up, unfortunately. There seems to be more of that here. A very strange little swath of texture that it shows it, and there's so much like garbage on the ground here. I don't think I noticed that before. Unless it's mostly rocks. It could just be rocks. Rocks are pretty natural to find in a rocky place, sure. Alright, so let's push forward. Keep seeing these red things. I'm like, is that something I'm supposed to look at? Almost like a sprint, but maybe that would be the wrong idea. This isn't the type of game you want to sprint through after all. So I think we climb up this and then there's a fall. And then that sort of progress locks us to going forward. In that way that game developers so often like to do. Yep, that would be this. So we're going to have a little bit of a loading screen, then I will be right back. I think there's probably another monologue after that. And again, please don't mind if I have to cut somewhere in there, because the frame rate's been going really haywire every single time I load, so we'll see what happens.
Dear Esther, I have now driven the stretch of the M5 between Exeter and Bristol over 21 times. But although I have all the reports and all the witnesses, and have cross-referenced them within a millimetre using my ordnance survey maps, I simply cannot find the location. You'd think there would be marks to serve as some evidence. It's somewhere between the turn-off for Sanford and the welcome break services. But although I can always see it in my rear-view mirror, I have as yet been unable to pull ashore.
Alright, so this time, for whatever reason, I didn't get any frame rate problems, so cool. I'm not going to argue with that. I definitely sense this guy's frustration, but I still lack the context to quite understand what the story is going at. I'm pretty sure that it's gonna like come together in one hit all of a sudden. It's just gonna take the right moment. And I'm pretty sure this is where he was talking about having camped before. Should probably go down there and explore this. I'm not sure where this path heads. But this is where I wrapped up the episode down in front of the ship. Oh, I think this actually does just lead down there. Might just loop back around. So much foliage, it's so vibrant looking. Everything's just really puffy and fluffy and moving. And yes, you can quote me on that. Puffy and fluffy and moving, that's what I said. Of course, the beautiful music in the background really underscores the sense of elegance that this game carries with it. I almost look at it like we're watching a book. And unfortunately, I tend to be a little dense with my literary cues, so I'm probably supposed to be a little bit further ahead in the narrative than I actually am. I need to have the point beaten over my head a little bit sometimes. And when we're dealing in abstract terms, I'm sure he's going to start talking any moment. Maybe not. Oh, I think this was his thing. Looks like some kind of important computer system or something from the boat. What was I saying? So yeah, with the abstract stuff, I definitely tend to get a little lost if I don't have some direction. And I think this game has been very much about not giving you direction intentionally. What would really throw me for a loop is if I play this for like an hour and a half, and then all of a sudden there's just like zombies or something, and then I find an M16, and then just shoot all the zombies. That'll be that. I know that doesn't happen in this, but that would just really, really mess me up, because I wouldn't expect that coming at all. Sometimes I'd like to see more game developers just do something completely random, like out of left field, where you just don't see it coming. It's not very often that I can really say that that happens in games, really. Oh, what is this?
There must be a hole in the bottom of the boat. How else could new hermits have arrived?
Can't quite read what that says. Maybe I can get a better spot. That movie Hot Fuzz did that, what I was talking about before, where it just sort of took a turn in a totally unexpected direction. Can you read that? I don't think I can read that. Neither did he eat nor drink. I think it says something before that, but I can't quite make that out either. It's kind of unfortunate that I'm sort of missing that just because I can't read the writing. Maybe I'm actually supposed to be in a better place to look at it. Although, no, maybe not actually. I think that was pretty much the desired place. And that would legitimize that little alcove as even having a point or a, reason to exist. So I think to proceed I need to head around that corner. There's a dirty, dirty beach. I would not want to walk around on that beach barefoot. What's up here, though?
I had kidney stones, and you visited me in the hospital. After the operation, when I was still half submerged in anesthetic, your outline and your speech both blurred. Now my stones have grown into an island and made their escape, and you have been rendered opaque by the car of a drunk.
An anesthetic penance between a hail of contraband? Probably not. So maybe this is actually the way to proceed forward. Oh, there's quite a hole over here, isn't there?
Is this what Paul saw through his windscreen? Not Lot's wife looking over her shoulder, but a scar in the hillside, falling away to black forever.
Wow. I'm gonna bet demons live down there. I've fought enough demons to know that's the kind of place they like. And they always can get out somehow. They're not, like, especially good at spelunking. They don't ever have grappling hooks. They just have these freaking claws, and they just climb the walls. It's, like, awfully convenient for them.
I've begun my ascent on the windless slope of the western side. The setting sun was an inflamed eye squeezing shut against the light shone in by the doctors. My neck is aching through constantly craning my head up to track the light of the aerial. I must look downwards, follow the path under the island to a new beginning.
Oh, that's a needle, a bunch of needles here. I thought when that audio cue first started we were actually going to hear Hey Jude, and I was like, whoa, somebody just got a budget. I didn't mean that in the way that sounded, but actually this game actually looks excellent, so I mean I'm not trying to say they don't have a budget. But, you know, Beatles money is it's a whole different caliber. You know what I'm trying to say. So yeah, if we were in a Gears of War-ish position right now, I'd be really happy knowing we had all these knee-high walls. I'd do some serious roadie running and dash rolling or whatever bros do nowadays. I think it's predominantly roadie running. And then something with the chainsaw, right? They're big on that too.
The bothy was constructed originally in the early 1700s. By then, shepherding had formalized into a career. The first habitual shepherd was a man called Jakobsen, from a lineage of migratory Scandinavians. He was not considered a man of breeding by the mainlanders. He came here every summer whilst building the bothy, hoping eventually that becoming a man of property would secure him a wife and a lineage. Donnelly records that it did not work. He caught some disease from his malcontented goats and died 2 years after completing it. There was no one to carve white lines into the cliff for him either.
Well, that's sad. I didn't really know what a bothy was. I'm assuming it's this. Maybe this whole spot. It's a very mountainous area here, and I'm actually surprised to see such a complex structure built in a game where we actually have to climb it, because usually, I don't know if you've noticed, but games really like to simplify stuff. They really hate to embrace the organic constructs that we are so used to seeing in our everyday lives. What's going on over here? Is this... Did I just go in a huge circle or something? No. Oh. So there's like some serious chemistry stuff going on. I've noticed some drugs on the ground. This guy's having all sorts of delusions. There's like a crashed car. If this ends and I find out that I'm Walter White, I'm going to be very disappointed. Oh, what is that? No stone... Oh, is that a grave marker? Probably is, to be honest. He was just talking about that. That's sad. You know, the sense of scale and everything is so well represented too. I mean, you really do feel like you're sort of in this place. It's isolated, but it's really grand at the same time. It's paint. What is that? Looks like some sort of a microorganism or something. It's got flagella or something pushing it around. Why is it written with this glowing blue paint? For a split second, I was totally expecting a jump scare, and I have no idea why.
A folding chair, I laughed at you for bringing camping in the lakes. I was uncomfortable later, and you laughed then. This diary, the bed with the broken springs. Once asleep, you have to remember not to dream. A change of clothes, Donnelly's book, stolen from Edinburgh Library on the way here. I will burn them all on the last morning and make an aerial of my own.
Wow, it's rare that a sleeping bag-ish kind of arrangement would have such a actual mass to it. It actually looks quite real. It's funny, the little details sometimes that really will pull you in a little bit. I mean, who would have expected that? And books on the fire. You know, I've hardly ever talked about mist when I talk about games like this. There's something over there. What is that? It's like an ember. Actually kind of scares me a little bit, and I'm not sure why. But yeah, we hardly ever talked about Myst, and Myst is a very influential game, clearly. It's one of the first, like, point-and-click kind of really puzzle-heavy, really difficult games like that. And it really did have a great sense of fantasy and wonder to it. But I have to say, it was sometimes very prohibitively difficult. Although maybe I was just too young at the time when it was new. I think when it came out, I was only like 7 or 8. Maybe even younger than that, it could be. And of course, when I get a better view on this thing, the ember's not there anymore. That's really creepy to me, and I'm not sure it should be. But I guess that's a testament to just how good the sense of atmosphere is in this game. I could very easily just completely lose myself. I don't have to try very hard. Alright, this cliff's getting a little scary now. Oh, what do we got? We're going down there?
In a footnote, the editor comments that at this point, Donnelly was going insane as syphilis tore through his system like a drunk driver. He's not to be trusted. Many of his claims are unsubstantiated, and although he does paint a colourful picture, much of what he says may have been derived directly from his fever. But I've been here, and I know, as Donnelly did, that this place is always half imagined. Even the rocks and caves will shimmer and blur with the right eyes.
Interesting. So are we getting one of those setups where it's like we see what happened to the people before us and we're just walking through that same path? I wonder. I guess we will find out in time.
They found Jakobsen in early spring. The thaw had only just come. Even though he'd been dead nearly 7 months, his body had been frozen right down to the nerves and had not even begun to decompose. He'd struggled halfway down the cliff path, perhaps looking for some lost goat, or perhaps in a delirium, and expired, curled into a claw right under the winter moon. Even the animals shunned his corpse. The mainlanders thought to bring it home unlucky. Donnelly claims they dragged it to the caves to thaw out and rot, but he is proving an unreliable witness.
Yeah, I noticed that traffic cone. I thought that was a little bit out of place there. Little things like that are just... after seeing all of these crazy stories, you know, things like Inception and The Matrix, and like, I start to think way, way outside of the narrative story very easily now. I start to wonder, are we in a digital world, like stuff like Assassin's Creed? And just sort of experimenting and playing with all the different angles that we could maybe make all these things make sense within. And I'm pretty sure that's not where we're going with this story, but my mind still tends to go there anyway. So, I'm thinking this is probably a pretty good point to wrap us up on this second episode. I made a little bit of progress here. I mean, granted, this game's not supposed to be particularly long, so I think this is probably a good way to break it up. Keep the episodes reasonably short, and hopefully you guys will keep coming back. So I'm guessing, what, like 4 or 5 episodes tops? I don't know, I could be wrong, but we'll see. Still enjoying the game so far. In fact, I'm more intrigued now with the story. Seems like it's starting to hone in a little bit more on more concrete concepts. But I think we still got a little ways to go with it. So I'm going to stop us right here, and remember, please come back and check out episode 3. Alright, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Later.